right partners brings
Yeah.
so much value to the table. You're not only able to go further faster, you just get to also enjoy the process.
Hello and welcome to Pillars of Wealth Creation, where we talk about creating financial success with a special focus on business and real estate. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer. Now, let's get to it. Hello and welcome back to Pillars of Wealth Creation. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer. Excited to have Ekaterina Stepanova, and I'm going to have you say your name because I like it so much better when you say it.
Yes, hey Todd, so great to be here. Yes, Ekaterina Stepanova, guys. So nice to be here today. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining me. A little bit about our guest today. She is, I know the accent probably sounds like she's from like Texas, but she's actually from Russia. So coming here from Russia, started her real estate investing journey actually back in Russia when they moved from Russia to the US, had a house there, turned that into a rental, and she said, I'm gonna like this. I like the cash flow. So decided to buy a couple turnkeys. That didn't work out so well, but or maybe it sounds like you can explain that to me and our listeners, but that really made you go, well, I'm going to turn to commercial real estate and focus on what you're focusing on now, which is mobile home park investing. And you've got quite a few spaces that you and your partners own in several locations around the country. And we'll get into details there too. And you also have a you're a host of a virtual meetup mobile home park called investors group called MHP Tribe. And you also have, you can explain the name of it, the software system. I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but we talked about it a little bit. So we can talk about that too. So why don't you give our listeners a little bit more about your background, kind of where you came from and what all you've got going on, because you got some cool stuff going on.
Sure. Yes, Todd, thank you for having me. I'm excited to share with your listeners about my journey and also pillars of wealth creation as was my experience to date. And if there is anything I can contribute to their wealth of knowledge, I will be happy to do that. So yes, as you said, Todd, I'm originally from Moscow, Russia, and I immigrated to United States 13 years ago. Back then, back in Moscow, I purchased my first property, which was an apartment. And as we immigrated, it became a rental, and my mom became my property manager at that point. So that was working out really well. She was very responsible and really doing an excellent job. Well, at some point we sold that apartment, and I was thinking that was an excellent idea. I did not think much of it as a business, but I thought that was a great source of income, and I should repeat it. So I was looking how would I do that here in States, and we moved to New York. And when I was looking around, everything is quite pricey here. And the cash flow, as I found bigger pockets through the research, I found bigger pockets, and I quickly learned that New York is not necessarily known to be a cash flowing market. And I started looking outside, and with that, I found a turnkey property in Memphis, Tennessee, which I purchased. And in the course of 6 months, I had 2 evictions. And that experience quickly taught me the value of having numerous streams of income. And at that point, I started thinking about going into commercial. And as I was thinking that way, I started again digging deeper into bigger pockets, into podcasts, because getting to know the industry and just getting yourself familiar with with what's what you should be, what you should know, and do's and don'ts, and kind of educating yourself. There's a lot to learn, so you should use really all the resources available to you. And of course, mentors are amazing process. So at that point, I got my first mentor, who we really started mapping it out, and and I was trying to find some cash flow in multifamily based on the criteria and the evaluators that I found. Um, the market is tough. Multifamily, you have to really establish yourself. You have to take time, credibility. And since I didn't have really capital to speak of, I came to States with a $130 in my pocket. I left everything behind. So the capital was not something that I had in abundance. So I was thinking how I'm going to do it. And at that point, I discovered a podcast and I started listening about mobile home parks. And I thought, well, it seems like the entry point is somewhat easier. Seems like not too many people are in that industry yet. And I thought I should probably give it a shot. And with that, again, through education, I found the course that I was able to take, and I started my journey into mobile home park investing. That was 3 years ago.
So what was your first park? Like, how did you take me through that journey? How'd you find it? And get it? You said you had no money. So how did you find it? How did you get it purchased? Like, what was that experience?
Yes, of course. So started marketing exactly I was taught in the course.
Just like sending out letters or
exactly.
Okay.
But it started with the database building.
Sure.
So started building the database exactly I was taught, and I had an amazing mentor there. That was Mobile Home Park Investor Academy, I believe. That is no longer open. It actually closed pretty fast, so I was lucky to to take advantage of it. And so it started with the database building, then this was the direct marketing, then it was cold calling, and I did all kinds of things, and then they produced results. I had a partner at that point with who we were able to wholesale actually our first park because it didn't really meet our criteria. And because it was a little, for the first deal, we didn't really want it to be as complex. And it was on a lot of park-owned homes, and it was just a little hairy. So we decided that it's probably not a good first deal.
Yeah.
So we wholesale that, and being in a partnership is definitely was able to boost me forward. I found a partner who had experience in the industry, so we formed M2K Partners. So I have now two partners, Matt Battinger and Nick Villanueva. Matt has experience in mobile home parks. He already owned, I think, 4 by then. And he did not do marketing. I was bringing in marketing component and database to the partnership. He was bringing in operational experience. And Nick, having had multifamily experience investing in various properties, various types of real estate by then, and having a brokerage. So he obviously brought all this knowledge of business and liquidity. So that's how it came to be. And then we purchased our first deal that was in Florida, and that was our first one.
And that right there, for anybody who's like, hey, how do I get started? Like, I don't know enough. Like, maybe I'm good at this, but I don't know how, I can't put all the pieces together. That right there is the perfect situation where you were able to put the pieces together. You were able to bring your experience to the table. You have
Mm-hmm.
an advertising background, a marketing background. You're able to bring that
Yep.
experience to
Yep.
the table. And your partners were able to bring their experiences to the table. And you
Exactly.
really made a good team. And anybody that's looking at getting started, a lot of people, and I mentor people that are wanting to get going in apartments. And one of the biggest mistakes I think I see, and I'm guilty of myself sometimes too, is wanting to do it all yourself, wanting to just be the only one because you don't want to give it up. You know, if I give away 30% or 60% or whatever it is, oh man, you know, then I got to do so much more. Well, that's not the case. You wouldn't have probably been able to get started nearly as fast without the partnership. Is that right?
Absolutely. Totally support that. I think partnerships are amazing. I simply do not want to do it anything without partners because I think it brings so much value. The right partners brings
Yeah.
so much value to the table. You're not only able to go further faster, you just get to also enjoy the process, because I just want to reiterate that, and well, probably just to point out that real estate investing, I personally don't look at it as a race. I'm in it for a long time simply because I think it's amazing. I enjoy it. And I think the reason I'm enjoying it so much because I have partners. We are able not only help each other out and check off to do tasks on a daily basis, but we also get to complement and teach each other in the process.
Yeah.
And with that, and if there's a nice folks you partnering up with, which you totally should, you get to really enjoy this relationship, because this is a relationship that is developing. You're learning together. You are making money together. You are building a sustainable business. But I just want to make sure that you listeners also hear this. It's critical to have goals aligned. I think it's very, very important to have goals aligned before going into partnerships, because I will just share something with your listeners. Is initially I had a partner that just did not work out that well, because I think we were just not on the same page in terms of maybe values and goals and how we're going to achieve those goals. So, and that was not essentially, it did not turn out well for us. So when you are going into a partnership, just make sure your values and your goals are really in alignment.
Yeah, so valuable, and I agree with that. I mean, I look back at any partnerships that I've had, and that's probably where they have failed, is the goals and values aren't aligning, or one or the other. They've got to both be aligning, and if only one is in alignment, then the other one's off. It just, the whole partnership is off. And then you've got to like the people that you're going to be around, too. And that's definitely, in my opinion, if I feel like I can go have a beer with them and hang out and have a conversation, they meet that one check mark. But then they also have to have the goals, right? And the values, like you said, that have to align really well. If they don't, you're just spinning your wheels. Everybody's got a different vision. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
for sure. How did you find, like, people always ask me that too? It's like, look, I'd like a partnership, but I don't even, like, how do I find a partnership?
I think it takes putting yourself out there and showing up consistently. That's when you choose let's say there is a mastermind, or there is a meetup that you like going to, or there is for example, a forum that pertains to your interests. I think it's very important to let people get to know you and show them what you're up to, and be consistent, keep them posted on your progress. You know, you have to bring value, right? And you allow people to get to know you. So I think if you do that and people see you, the right people will get attracted to you. So I think that's just that.
Yeah, you got to be able to bring value. You got to be able to show up, like you said. You have to be able to bring value. If you can't do that, well, then don't expect anybody to be attracted to you, right?
Exactly.
Hi, I'm Matt Jones, and if you're like me, you're looking to grow your real estate business while connecting with others. There's this incredible new virtual experience unlike any other. I'm talking about the North Star Real Estate Conference. It's coming to you online this October 22nd and 23rd, and it's not like one of those boring webinars you find all the time out there. No, this is going to be interactive. You're going to have the opportunity to network and grow relationships with not only the other attendees, but with the speakers as well. So you can sign up today online at nreconference.com and use the code DEX, D-E-X, for $50 off.
You've mentioned maybe a couple already, but maybe something you haven't mentioned. What's a mistake that you have made or your company has made, and how have you learned from it?
Yeah. Well, I think there were various moments along the way, along our journey, as we've now purchased in a partnership. We purchased 3 parks. We wholesaled 1, as I mentioned. So along the journey, we were learning everything along the due diligence lines, what's the right way to go about due diligence, and I guess what to look for, just learning the master in our trade. So in those regards, we learned the questions to ask, better ask all those questions that you might, know that are pain points. Just ask them before you put, let's say, park and under contract, because it just takes so much longer if you like the park and it seems like everything checks out on the surface, and you just kind of waited on asking some harder questions. So it just takes longer than to dissolve that arrangement if you just choose to proceed. So I guess we learned also to just the industry, the trade a little more. So we learned where the bigger pain points are and learn to talk to them, have those hard conversations, very upfront, very honest conversations with park owners in advance. That's why we did not purchase in the past, 2 years, a dozen parks, simply because, well, we are conservative. We just are. We're not in this for a short gain. We're in this business for a while and plan on staying there. So that's why we oftentimes just have those hard conversations, very in-depth conversations with sellers in advance. And that's why we end up sometimes just not proceeding with the deal if there's something feels off or seems off, seems to be an issue going forward. We just don't want to waste our time on that, because I'm still working full time, so we just don't have time for those mistakes, honestly. So we sometimes, what we did previously, we chose to wholesale one deal, we chose to refer another deal. It was a straight up referral. We didn't gain anything, but we connected people together, seller and buyer, and they made the deal, purchased the park. We didn't gain anything from their material. We just knew it wasn't the right situation for us. So I guess that's the thing. Just be more, as you go and learn. Of course, it's not your first deal, but you go and learn, and the best deals, that's the ones that you don't buy. And this is so true. And you just gain confidence as you do it, but you gotta keep doing and trying. This is how you gain experience and confidence to have those hard conversations. And this is when you learn not to buy bad deals and only buy really good ones that will really make a difference in your life, in your partner's life, in your family's life. So focus on quality. That's just my thought.
Awesome. When your bio, you have that, I think you have properties in Jackson and Michigan and Arizona, and so Florida. So they're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
in one little central location right
Mm-hmm.
by where your
Mm-hmm.
partners live.
Mm-hmm.
How are you buying those I guess not how are you buying those properties, but what are you doing to like make sure that these properties are actually running okay? And since you've got them in different locations, how are you doing that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, before we really put a park on the contract, we have this very rigid underwriting plan in place.
Yeah.
It takes, I mean, there are, I don't know, hundreds of bullet points that we want to check out. But one of the things we do first, of course, we meet with my partners after preliminary underwriting. Maybe test marketing is done, maybe some other things that on due diligence list I checked off. But we'll also discuss, so what is our plan? How it's going to work out? What is the turnaround? Because we are value add buyers. So what is the turnaround? How is it going to look like? How specifically, who's going to be handling what? Who do we have in place for those parts? So I'll just give you an example. With our last purchase, that is a mobile home community, 80 space community in Jackson, Michigan. And it's a huge turnaround in terms of when we purchased it, it only had 35 occupied and paying spaces.
And how many spaces did you say it was?
It's 80 space total.
80 spaces and had 35 occupied spaces.
Correct.
Paying spaces. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
It also has master metered electricity, and it does not bill water back.
Oh, fun.
The reason for us buying this park, because this park is it's not just a heavy turnaround, that's why we like it, but there is an opportunity. So what kind of opportunity is there? Are 35 empty homes in a pretty good shape, as we had our asset manager go out and look at them prior to us putting this under contract. So he went out and he said, yep, 35 homes, 15 are ready, almost ready to go. We'll take probably $1,000 to pretty it up, and they are back online. We thought, okay, 35 homes, that sounds really good. Are we gonna be able to fill them up? So test marketing followed. We had avalanche of calls. We thought, okay, so that's probably gonna work out. What else can we do there? Okay, we can build back water. Pipes seem to be, and everything, infrastructure seems to be in good shape. So we checked that out as well. Okay, so we can build back water. We can fill up 35 spaces pretty quickly. We put 3-year mark on it. Plus we'll have 7 more lots that are empty, and we can infill them as well. So that was our thinking process. And we checked with the mobile home park brokers, and we found out if we were to master metered electricity, it will decrease the cap rate at sale by probably half to 1 point. So we thought, okay. And in combination with the purchase price, you have to purchase on actuals. Altogether, that made a good deal for us. So that's how. I'm sorry if it was too long and too detailed.
I've got a follow-up question with that. So on that property, how far along that business plan are you, and how has it been going?
Yeah, so we put the 3-year plan together.
Yep.
And we are 6 months in.
Okay.
So as we planned on accomplishing in the first year, we planned on filling up, I think, 20 spaces. We are at this point 30 in by already 6 months mark. So we're pretty confident we can fill up 10 more.
Yep.
We've already in the first quarter increased the value of the park by $1 million simply on collections, raising occupancy, and those homes that we are repairing, they are turning into tenant-owned homes. So we do not rent. So maintenance down, and we are able to increase the lot rent on the new occupants as well. So that is just a cherry on top. So, and we're sub-metering water right now, happening right now, going to be completed in the next couple of weeks. So by mid-July, and we are already executing on a master metered sub-metering.
Great. That's awesome. So how are you managing it? Do you have like on-site managers? Do you have,
yep.
Do you guys manage it from afar? How do you do it?
So we definitely have an on-site manager. We have assistant park manager who helps with some maintenance issues as well. And my partners and I, we asset manage day to day. And because this is a joint venture, we brought in a couple of partners who really were eager to learn the industry, and they are friends, and they helping out with projects as well as needed, and it's been working out fantastic. They're learning, helping us out, a huge deal. One of our partners is pretty much spearheading electrical sub-metering. It's a huge project in itself. So he's been amazing at that. That is why, just going back to the partners are crucial for success of the. You have to really know who's going to be doing what when you're going into the deal. So.
Yeah. I mean, I hear it over and over from you is the partners are a huge part of everything. So that's really cool. I want to switch gears because you've got another part of your business. I want to talk quick about that. We're running out of time, but I want to talk quick about that and not ignore that. So explain what you've got going on with the software.
Yeah, of course. So as I mentioned, I'm not yet full-time in my real estate passion. I'm still working my way towards it. I'm very excited to, as I call it, turn pro. I'm so much in anticipation of that. And one of the things that I wanted to mention to your audience is pillars of wealth, right? I think real estate is one of them for sure. For me, for sure, absolutely. And second is recurring revenue. And that happened to be also something that I started a year ago out of necessity. And I thought, okay, I'm not full-time yet in a business, but we have now few joint ventures going. We have partners, we have assets that we need to manage. And I saw that asset management, deal management and investor management softwares that were quite pricey. And I wanted something for myself to be able to handle the reporting and just share with my partners deal performance of our parks, and also exchange, just share documentation and things like that, and be able to have all the information about partners in one place, so it's not complicated to manage this. And with emails and Dropbox and G Drive, this is too much. This is a lot. And I knew, because we are very lucky to have repeat partners from deal to deal, there's no way we would allow to knowingly to mess anything up with reporting or just not keeping them in the loop. It is just so important for us to make sure we have complete transparency on everything that we do. So I just started putting something together for myself, and then I also heard from other colleagues in the industry that they were looking for something similar that wouldn't cost you arm and a leg to manage your investors or your partners and your deals in one place. So that's how it came to be. And then I had an amazing partner, also Dylan Marma, joined me a few months back. Dylan has a lot of experience in multifamily, and he's raised, I don't know what he said, 50 million worth of deals, and tremendous asset to our business, and he brought his expertise, and we really were able to make this software that is just offering portal. It's called just offering portal, and we were really able to put this together as the tool for our communities to be able to access. And what Dylan is also doing, he is spearheading our education that comes with fundraising and investor management, because we strongly believe that education is everything.
Yeah.
And there are multiple tools. You can be using any number of tools. It does not really matter as much as that you use best practices in your business. So our software, Equity Tree software, we based on our principles again, radical transparency. So our reports, they go very clear to any investor. They see what you projected going into a deal and what you actually doing month to month. So this is, we aim for, this is our value. This is what Dylan and I, we have in common. This is why we formed this partnership. We aim to radical transparency, bring investors in a loop, in the deal, let them see how we performing, feel part of the process, and put this tool in the hands of every investor, because it's so like no-brainer. It's like so accessible. Why wouldn't you do better job for your business? Like, do yourself a favor, especially even if you're not full-time in business, you don't have that much time to rebuild if you fail. So why wouldn't you use better tools available? So that's our mission with this project.
I like it because, as you said, like, yeah, we've got Dropbox, we've got Google Drive, and we've got email, and we've got, all these different things that we can go ahead and use, but then you've got all these things floating around everywhere.
Yeah.
And so to be able to clump them into one and just have
Yes.
one spot, one landing spot for everything is so much better. Like, it drives me crazy when people want me to join this thing with them and this thing and this.
Yeah.
I can't keep it all straight. I can't keep,
Yeah.
I need one spot, and that's it. Because I don't have time to go to 16 different logins to check and to see if you sent me a message at this and somebody else sent me a message at this little, it's like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I like those centralized, like, give me one thing. Love it. I love it. Well, you've got some really exciting things going on, and I really appreciate it. And I got a question.
Of course.
When are you going to go full time?
Yeah, right.
What's your goal? Do you have a goal yet? Like,
yes,
we're just going to do this full time by what?
Yes. You see,
or maybe you can't say it because, so.
Yeah. Well, you see, I think, Todd, I actually think that probably I would need, one more deal and really get our equity tree going. So I'm really looking forward, maybe by end of this year. I'm really kind of aiming for it. At the same time, I learned something about myself. I tend to press myself for deadlines a little bit too hard.
Yeah.
And what I learned, that I just really want to keep the deadlines, but I really want to emphasize that enjoyment of the journey.
Sure.
Because if this is not going to happen by end of the year, but I enjoyed the process, meaning I was able to do the things that I really thought were best for my partners and for our clients, and they didn't give me as much return, so I couldn't quite go full time. That's fine with me, So I'm just really focused on just doing the right thing and just doing it so it feels really good for me. So I could look back and say, yeah, I didn't just run off to full-time real estate investor, but I just did it So it really made sense, and just kind of did it. So I have no regrets. That's probably the main thing for me.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I got a couple last questions before we wrap up.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
your favorite business or real estate related book that you can pass on to our listeners?
Business. Well, I recently learned on a podcast um, about the philosophy behind Kickstarter. It's a public service company. It's POWC, and I really like the idea of how a business can tie its own profitability to making sure they're bringing value to a greater, society as a whole. So how it's tied up, I never knew there was a thing with the actual for-profit business, which mission is tied up to bringing public service into the world. So that was a fascinating idea to me. And so my last book actually that I read, and I think there is I think it's absolutely future. Working together, collaboration. I think collaboration is the future. Hoarding resources, whether it's databases or leads or anything else, or contacts or relationship. I think that soon will be a thing of the past. I think we will all achieve more and will go further when we collaborate. I truly believe so. I don't have this figured out, but every week on my MHP tribe group, I share, my team, we're sharing our journey, how we are turning our parks, what exactly we're doing, what's going on. And if someone can learn from it, I'm all for it. Whoever asks me a question, or I share my database. I'm just trying to do my part. I don't know how it's gonna be working out exactly, but I'm just starting at my level, and I hope that someone may follow, and we'll just bring more, more prosperity and overall success to each other. That's I think.
So
sorry, I didn't give you the book.
Name of the book?
Sorry, this guy completely. That was Yancey Strickler's book, Manifesto.
Yeah.
This could be our future. It was amazing. On a more maybe just actionable tone, I could recommend James Clear's book that I really I read probably 6 months ago. So it's called 1% Better. I'm sorry, it's Atomic Habits. And there is a concept, 1% better. This is how you learn new habits and get them to stick. It was very actionable. Very much recommend. I still do it. It's really changed a lot in my life. So, yeah.
Awesome. Now you've mentioned some of this stuff probably already, so you can repeat it. But what are your 3 pillars of wealth creation?
I think first one is definitely a real estate, and second is recurring revenue. So if there is any service, preferably the one that you're really passionate about, you can automate and have recurring revenue coming from it. So I would say this is the second one. Third one, I'm not sure if I found that one yet. I think I might be still in discovery, but yeah, but I learned quite a bit from Tim Ferriss's books about having multiple streams of income and how you can automate things and hack into businesses. So I think I'll find something along the way, but I think these are just 2 that I have so far.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, that's fine. Well, Katerina, I really enjoyed talking to you and spending some time with you, and I'm sure my listeners did as well. So appreciate you joining us on the show, giving us a ton of value. You have a fantastic rest of the day.
Well, thank you very much, Todd. And I just wanted to say thank you for having me. I really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you for incredible questions. Was happy to go into details. And for all the listeners, equitytree.io, we will be happy to give you guys, Dylan put together this amazing guide. It's called 5-Step Ultimate Fundraising Guide. Feel free to go and grab it, and it's on equitytree.io. Equitytree.io.
Okay.
Yeah. Feel free to go and grab it.
Is that the best way for them to get in touch with you, or is there another place for them to get in touch with you?
That is a totally great way to get in touch with me. My mobile home park business is mhpteam.com, MHP team. So it's rather simple.
Yep.
So we'll and on any major social networks as well.
So they can find you there too. Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that sounds great. Thanks again for joining me. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you very much for having me.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. I appreciate you being a loyal listener. I would love to have you go on to our Facebook page and subscribe, give us a thumbs up, go on to iTunes or wherever you listen and give us a rating and review. Don't forget to subscribe. Your rating and review just helps us push this out to more and more people and continue to grow our audience and hopefully positively affect a ton of people out there that really need this and want this. So the other thing I've got for you is a free ebook on my website. So go on to venturedproperties.com, and download our free ebook on real estate and on syndication. And I've got some data points in there, some really good stuff for you. So I'd love to have you take a look at that. It's free. I'm not expecting anything from it. And also, look, if you want some help in multifamily, want some help learning, growing, getting your business off the ground, I would love to talk to you about what it would look like to work with me potentially and see if that's a good fit. So you can go to coachwithdex.com and check that out, and we can definitely have a call. Thanks a lot for listening. You make it a fantastic rest of the day. I'll catch you on the next episode.